In Palestine, authorities registered more than 8,300 people killed in the ongoing Israeli bombardments of Gaza. In Venezuela, President Nicolás Maduro denounced the actions taken by the government of Guyana as a threat against peace in Latin America and the Caribbean. And in Pakistan, authorities prepare to deport 2 million Afghan migrants. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Local media in Palestine reported on Tuesday that the Israeli siege on the Gaza Strip continues in an armed conflict that has left more than 8,000 civilians killed and 23,000 wounded. Israeli forces airstrikes reached 25 consecutive days on an already devastated city of Gaza, hitting mostly civilians. On Tuesday, authorities reported that 13 civilians, all of them women and children, were killed after Israeli missiles struck a house in the Al-Sawaida area in the center of the Gaza Strip. Injuries were also reported after shelling in the European hospital. According to official figures, so far more than 8,382 Palestinians have been killed and around 23,000 wounded. The data indicate that at least 73% of the dead were children, women, or elderly people. On Monday evening, Israeli aircraft attacked Al-Quds Hospital and its surroundings. These inhumane incidents caused chaos and Palestinian death. Our correspondent in Gaza brings us the details.
The hospitals in Gaza, which became a shelter for thousands of Palestinians, actually, the people now are scared. Whoever is staying inside the hospital. The reason why is because of the intensive Israeli strikes on Palestinian and around Palestinian hospitals in central Gaza City. Overnight, the Israeli warplanes launched several airstrikes, destroying the buildings surrounding the Al-Quds hospital, giving the people there the last warning before they strike the hospital. However, the doctors, the patients, and the people who were injured and the people who were taking shelter, they refused to leave the hospital. If you're talking about the Turkish hospital, which is Gaza's only hospital that specializes in treating patients with cancer. It is Gaza's only hospital for cancer. Also, this hospital was attacked by the Israeli shelling and the Israeli strikes, and actually the third floor was totally destroyed and it collapsed, stopped working. So the people in other hospitals are now feeling unsafe. Nur Harazim, TeleSUR, Gaza.
In Russia, President Biden reported and affirmed that the shelling of the Israeli army against the Gaza Strip has no justification. The Russian president stated that the situation in the Gaza Strip cannot be endorsed in any way. He also denounced that thousands of innocent people are being indiscriminately killed. He also indicated that the key to solve the conflict is the creation of a sovereign and independent Palestinian state with full rights. In this context, the Russian head of state asserted that the United States and its allies are the beneficiaries of world instability.
It is the current ruling elites of the US and their satellites who are the main beneficiaries of world instability. They collect their blood-stained revenue. We must clearly understand who really is standing behind the tragedy of the peoples of the Middle East and other regions of the world, who is organizing the deadly chaos and who benefits from it today. Today, in my opinion, it has already become obvious for everyone.
On Monday, the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees warned that the limited number of aid convoys entering Gaza were insufficient to meet the unprecedented humanitarian needs in the territory. The agency's chief, Philip Lazzarini, told the UN Security Council that the handful of convoys being allowed through Rafah is nothing compared to the needs of over 2 million people trapped in Gaza. Israel has unleashed a massive bombing campaign on Hamas-run Gaza after the gunmen stormed across the border on October 7th. The strike have flattened thousands of buildings and, according to the Hamas-run health ministry, killed over 8,000 people, also mostly civilians. He also stated that 64 of his UNRWA colleagues had been killed in just over 3 weeks, the highest number of UN aid workers killed in a conflict in such a short time.
The system in place to allow aid into Gaza is geared to fail unless there is political will to make the flow of supplies meaningful, matching the unprecedented humanitarian needs.
Brazil's landless workers movement sends a food donation to the victims of humanitarian crisis in the Gaza Strip. The first shipment includes around 2 tons of rice, corn, flour, sugar, and powdered milk, and was scheduled to be sent on Monday with an aircraft of the Brazilian Air Force. The donation is intended to help part of the 2.2 million people living in Gaza, victims of serious humanitarian crisis caused by the Israeli bombing and siege amid a shortage of water, cooking fuel, and food. The social movement's objective is to send 100 tons of food to Palestine, an action which will be supported by the Brazilian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the federal government, and international humanitarian assistance groups. The national leader of the landless workers movement, Cassia Bechara, highlighted the importance of solidarity with the Palestinian people.
We are now where Rulios are based. We are sending from here the first kilo of food produced by the family of the landless worker movement for the Gaza families. We are donating milk, rice, corn flour, and sugar for the families in Gaza, especially for the children. Those who are not dying from the bombings are at the risk of starvation with a lack of drinking water, lack of food. At this moment, it's central for all the Brazilian people to demand a ceasefire and to guarantee the solidarity with the people of Gaza. Together with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which worked hard to guarantee the first shipment, we'll continue to send more assistance. Our goal is to reach 100 tons, 100,000 kilos of food for the people of Gaza.
Amid the ongoing Israeli shelling on Gaza, Palestinians in refugee camps help each other through these trying times. Let's learn about Mohamed El Saife, a barber that with his trade aims to ease people's suffering.
Mohamed El Saif is a barber who lived in Gaza City. Everyone was threatened to go to the south of the Gaza Strip, and he and his family went to the tents of the displaced. El Saif had a barber shop in the Gaza Strip that was completely destroyed due to the shelling. He opened the place in the displaced people's tents to help people and cut their hair.
I had a shop in Sheikh Rudwan. We were asked to move here. After having my own business, my own employees, the situation now is this: a simple stall inside a camp where we share the displaced and the refugees who fled from the death machine to the south. Death is chasing us everywhere, even in the south. We are trying as much as possible to alleviate the suffering of the people and at the same time to cover our personal expenses. And who doesn't have it, doesn't matter. We share him for free. As much as we can, we want to ease the lives of the 40,000 unemployed people who are here. Those who come here are mostly displaced, those who are in tents. The people are having a very hard time, and if it is in my power to help them with something, even if it is in my profession, I will do it. May God help the people.
After 24 days, Israel continues its siege on the Gaza Strip. According to official sources, more than 8,300 Palestinians have been killed since the attacks began, and another 23,000 have been reported wounded. Sources also informed that at least 73% of the Palestinians killed in the attacks were children, women, or senior citizens.
Según el Ministerio de Salud palestino,
according to the Palestinian Ministry of Health, 34% of the hospitals in Gaza are not functioning, and 65% of the primary health care centers are closed. On the other hand, more than 37,000 people have been displaced, including more than 4,000 pregnant women. At least 15,000 of the total displaced are sheltered in hospitals, a situation aggravated by Israeli bombing threats against medical centers, which put the lives of refugees and the wounded in danger. During its weekly cabinet meeting, Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammad Shtayyeh accused the State of Israel of waging a war of extermination against the population of Gaza. The government official also denounced the killing of more than 3,000 minors during the Israeli bombings and called for a halt to the siege against Gaza. On the other hand, the Israeli army began new ground operations within the Gaza Strip with the use of tanks and armed forces, while Hamas fighters claim that they are engaged with Israeli forces north of Gaza, while denouncing the persecution of Gaza residents who have had to leave their homes due to the Israeli attacks.
La Fuerza Aérea Israelí perpetró un nuevo ataque con misiles
The Israeli
contra
Air
una base
Forces
militar
launched a
ubicada
new
en el sur
missile
de la
attack
provincia
against a
siria
military
de
base in the
Deraa. En
south of
las
the
últimas
Syrian
3
province of
semanas,
Deraa.
Tel Aviv
In the
ha
last 3
perpetrado
weeks, Tel
ataques
Aviv
contra los
has carried out
aeropuertos en las
attacks
ciudades
against the
sirias de
airports of the
Damasco y
Syrian
Alepo.
cities of
De igual
Damascus and
modo,
Aleppo.
Israel anunció una movilización de tanques de
Likewise,
guerra
Israel
en la
announced the
frontera con
mobilization of
Líbano.
tanks on the
Esto
border
luego
with
de que las
Lebanon.
fuerzas de
The
resistencia
operation takes
libanesa,
place after
Hezbollah,
Hezbollah resistance
anunciaron haber
forces
derribado un
announced
dron
they had shot
israelí,
down an Israeli
mientras
drone
mantienen un
while
ataque preventivo
maintaining
sobre las
preemptive
posiciones
strike on
militares
the
de
Israeli
Israel
military
cerca de la
positions near the
frontera. En el
border.
mundo, ciudadanos
The
continúan
world has come out
solidarizándose
in
con la
support
causa
of the
palestina.
Palestinian cause. People
Ciudadanos
in
en
Canada,
Canadá,
the United
Estados
States,
Unidos,
Germany,
Alemania,
Tunisia,
Túnez,
Morocco, Spain,
Marruecos,
and Pakistan
España y
have taken
Pakistán
to the streets of their
salieron a las
capital
calles de la
cities to show
capital
their
de estos
solidarity
países
for the
a fin de
Palestinian
manifestar
people
su
who have
apoyo
been
al pueblo
besieged for
palestino,
24
asediado
days.
durante 24 días.
Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Those stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back from the south. In Venezuela, President Nicolas Maduro stated that the actions taken by the government of Guyana constitutes a threat against the peace of Latin America and the Caribbean. The statement by the Venezuelan president responds to the illegal decision by the president of Guyana, Irfan Ali, to give the green light to the operations of foreign oil companies in shallow waters in the territorial sea of the eastern Guyana Esequibo. He pointed out that transnationals that choose to operate in the disputed territory are entering the realm of illegality. The Venezuelan head of state assured that the country has a clear strategy so that Guyana does not continue to carry out illegal acts in the territory of Esequibo. The National Electoral Council in Venezuela informed that 20,694,124 voters have been qualified for the consultative referendum over the Esequibo. The announcement was made by the electoral body's president, Elvis Amoroso, who said that the electoral infrastructure is made up of 24 federal entities, 335 municipalities, more than 28,000 polling stations, and a total of 15,857 voting centers nationwide. Amoroso confirmed that the milestones of the electoral schedule for the consultative referendum are ready. On the other hand, the CNE's president urged all Venezuelans to participate in the referendum to be held next December 3rd in defense of the Eastern Guyana.
We're also going to publish in the official Gazette everything that has to do with the participation of the different sectors, political parties, associations and unions that want to register in this promotion for the referendum on December the 3rd over the Esequibo. This has been perfectly organized. The only thing missing is the people of Venezuela. The voters, all united, absolutely united, all Venezuelans to vote this December the 3rd.
Tensions are mounting between the government of Argentina and the country's oil companies due to the fuel shortage affecting the South American nation. Argentina Minister of Economy Sergio Massa warned that if by next Tuesday the fuel supply situation in the country is not resolved, the main oil companies will not be able to export oil or its derivatives. The statement comes after the nation's main refineries committed themselves on October 21st to stabilize the supply of gasoline to the domestic market. On the other hand, the Association of State Workers denounced that what has happened with fuels at national level is a market move carried out by the Libertad Avanza party, which has leaders linked to the oil companies. The Electoral Tribunal of Panama affirmed that there are not enough conditions to organize the popular consultation on the mining contract endorsed by the government of Laurentino Cortizo. Magistrate Alfredo Junca clarified that there is no norm in the political constitution or in the electoral code that contemplates the type of popular consultation requested. Junca indicated that the request implies an additional and parallel effort to the process of organization of general election of May 5, 2024, for which the institution has been preparing for the last 2 years. At the same time, he pointed out that the Supreme Court of Justice has in process some unconstitutionality lawsuits against Law 406, which, if resolved before the date of the consultation, would make it unnecessary. These declarations are made after 9 days of protest from different sectors who denounce that the mining contract law puts the sovereignty of the country at risk.
At this moment, there are no conditions to organize the intended popular consultation. Finally, we urge all parties involved in the present crisis to dialogue and to contribute with peaceful and effective solutions that return social peace to our country.
A 5.6 magnitude earthquake struck Jamaica on Monday. No significant damage or fatalities have been reported. According to official sources, about 150 people had to be treated at healthcare centers suffering from panic attacks, seizures, fainting, and a few from falling debris. Some houses have been reportedly destroyed, but there are not exact figures about the extent of the damages. Prime Minister Andrew Holness urged the population to remain calm and assured that Jamaica's anti-seismic protocols are active. Holness also stressed that no fatalities have been reported and noted that there have been minor power outages. The quake occurred at 10:57 a.m. local time on Monday, about 10 kilometers south of Buff Bay in Portland. We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at TeleSUR English, there you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings, and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back From the South. In the United States, some 17 million households are food insecure, the highest in 11 years. According to data from the Department of Agriculture in 2022, food insecurity rose to levels not seen since current President Joe Biden was vice president in the Barack Obama administration from 2009 to 2017. According to data from the Department of Agriculture, the federal agency found that 12.8% of households in the United States, or about 17 million households, had difficulty at some point during the year providing enough food for all members due to a lack of resources. The figure implies an increase of nearly 3 percentage points, or 3.5 million households, over 2021 data, making it the highest level of food insecurity in the country to date since 2014. In Pakistan, authorities prepare to deport 2 million Afghan migrants. The plan to expel undocumented migrants will be put into effect as of midnight this Tuesday, just when the deadline to leave the country before facing forced deportation expires. The Pakistani authorities stressed that the measure will affect Afghans and undocumented migrants alike. According to official data, there are about 4.4 million Afghan refugees in the country, of which 1.7 million are unregistered. Most of them fled driven by decades of armed conflict and the coming to power of the Taliban. The International Organization for Migration said on Monday that the number of displaced people in the Democratic Republic of the Congo has reached a record high of 6.9 million. This latest increase comes following renewed conflict between Tutsi-led M23 rebels and militias loyal to the government in the eastern province of North Kivu in October. The international organization said it was intensifying its efforts to address the complex and persistent crisis across the country, with most of those who fled their home desperately needing help to meet their basic needs. As the security situation continues to deteriorate, movements become more frequent and humanitarian needs soar. Kenya is home to about a third of the world's black rhino population, which is critically endangered. Sanctuaries face the constant threat of poaching as well as overpopulation, which limits their ability to reproduce. At Old Pejeta Conservancy, 169 black rhinoceros are looked after. In this 36,000-hectare conservancy, the animals are protected from their biggest threat, poaching. Nowadays, the demand for rhino horn comes mainly from Asia and the Middle East, where it is falsely believed to have medicinal properties or is used for ornamental dagger handles. On the black market, a rhino horn can fetch up to $60,000 per kilogram, but sanctuaries often face another problem: overpopulation. Rising populations of black rhinos mean more territorial disputes, sometimes ending in deadly confrontations. Kenya has made significant progress in reducing rhino poaching, with less than 1% of rhino poaching incidents reported during the implementation of the 6th edition of the Black Rhino Action Plan. We have come to the end of this news brief. Before saying goodbye, we want to thank our Caribbean audience, especially the audience of Trinidad and Tobago. We are pleased to share our newscasts and contribute to provide an alternative news source of the latest world events, the life stories of the people of the South, and break the hegemonic media dominance. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our social medias on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.